Hello everyone and welcome back to another Television 2 video. We continue with Game 2 between Mimile and Luna, which is apparently also a very interesting one since, I was told that both of these games were really cool to cast. So I'm looking very much forward to it, and we get another one of the new divisions in a tournament game. Again, this was in the week of release and Luna just decided to give them a try, although this one, I think we kind of saw that was definitely going to be a decent one. There's, I think, still a little bit of debate on how good 18th is, but it is definitely a good one. So I think that there's no question on that, while it has its issues. So we have Maverick versus Maverick Incognito this time here on Haroshaje. And yeah, let's just go to division as always. And we're again going to start with a division that we already know, which is second Pancelos, which is a very good pick in my opinion for this map. It has a lot of good tools for it. It's a very solid pick. But something surprised me here a bit, and we're going to get to that. But first, what makes this deck so great for town? Of course, the tank tab and then the infantry tab, which is the first one. We're actually going to look at some special things here. You get the Motorized Lavage 44M, which is really good. It's, you know, it's a chunky Hungarian unit. You don't get the MG42, which you otherwise get, but you do get the other LMG. But you get bazookas, which is really useful, especially in this matchup since 18th has a ton of light armor. Other than that, nothing special there. Mod Lavage and the Mod Haroshaje, which is basically the MG42, which is not bad either. It may be chunky. If it is, you're going to see a card pop up. If not, not. But yeah, so that looks pretty reasonable there. The recon tab, by the way, has a nice amount of recon and light armor with the Toldi and the Panther Free. What surprised me a bit is the tank tab, because so the units themselves are fine. 2-round-1s and 2-round-2s are good, and Panzer 4s as well. The combination of these, by the way, for towns nowadays is pretty good, I think. It was good before, but now, in my opinion, even better still, since the Panzer 4 is a bit cheaper. So, you know, even if it leads to a Sherman up close, don't mind as much. But what surprised me is the lack of medium, like real medium tanks in A phase and the 2-round-1s. So he takes his Panzer 4s in B and C phase, and he's 2-round-1 in C phase and 2-round-2 in B phase. He only has a 2-round leader in A phase, that's about it. Now, of course, he has the Toldi 2 and the Panzer 3 as well. But that's not a whole lot. I guess he makes up for that with the Stück 3 in the AT tab. Still, I'm a bit surprised. I guess he hopes that he can just outspam Luna in C phase with his 2-round-1s. But in my opinion, 2-round-1 is also very good to deal with all the light armor that's going to be around. So having that in A phase, in my opinion, would be way better. So that's why I think it's a bit of an interesting choice. Well, then again, you know, there's not that many tanks either in 18, so maybe the Stück 3 in A phase combined with the Panzer 2 is okay enough. And then, of course, you have the Turans and the Panther, which are a bit special. Other than that, a lot of veterancy on the AA, so that's definitely very useful here. Probably Luna's gonna go and air spam him again, especially since Luna doesn't really have a direct answer to the Panthers. The good Hungarian 149s, so nothing out of the usual there. And then, of course, a nice little air spam being ready there in A phase. Not a real spam, but you know, 18's weakness in A phase is AA, so having the Focul recon plane is really nice because then you can spot and bomb. It's generally nice, but especially nice against those divisions that don't have really good AA, because then you can, for relatively cheap, take advantage of that. And we did that, of course, fantastic with that too. I'm surprised about the JU-88S1, because it is super fast. It's not a bad cluster bomber, but it is also expensive, and I'm not really sure if it's needed here, but I guess Mimile thinks so. So that's going to be that. Now, the big issue for this division, I think, here specifically, is going to be the speed. 18th is just faster. And especially so with all the light armor. So, yeah, considering that the Mod Lavage is not in the super fast, it doesn't get a super fast transport, it's decent. It's 70 kilometers an hour still, which is not horrible. But, you know, there's nothing really here to at least rush forward early on. So, the and the fact that there's not any fast light armor to move forward, I think could potentially be a bit of an issue. But it is finally time to move over to 18th SS by Luna. I think by now everyone knows how strong this division is. And but that also means that now we have only 2 DLC divisions missing in league so far, at least casted league. I'm sure they have been played, which are S&P and the checkmate, the first check. Czechoslovakian one. So there's that. But let's go to this one. So, of course, super strong. We have seen it recently. I have made a playing every division video with it recently too. And let's dive into it. So, very noteworthy thing here, of course, AA in A phase sucks. And Luna actually decided that it's not worth bringing any whatsoever. So he just decides to just bring A in B phase, not in A, which is a very odd take in my opinion. He doesn't bring the leader either, as far as I can tell, for 20 mils. So that is odd too. He has no leaders and whatsoever. Actually, never mind. He has some in the artillery tab. Infantry leader, that is, of course. He has the Panzer III leader as well. So very, very odd choice there. But I guess he decides that he is just not gonna care about getting air swamped in A phase, and then he'll make up for that later on. That, yeah, that must be his thought process here. Now in Recon tab, he brings his Ersatzspätrupp HW, which is not that good in my opinion because this is hand, but it hits a double MG42 unit, so you can't really complain about that. And with Recon, after that, Panzer IIF, which is of course really good. In the infantry tab, we do have a nice assortment of quality hybrid, which are actually pretty good here as well, and some spam. So he brings the POHT, which you can spam out like crazy. MG34 for 15 point, not too bad. And then the rest is, of course, the Panzerpionier HW, the Sturmpionier HW, the SS Jagdverband, both in A and B phase, from what I can tell. Actually, the Pioneer, no, only in A phase. The Grenadier GRB with the nice little Panzerbüchse, the AT rifle from the Germans, which are really nice too. Though, no, it can actually penetrate around, so that's actually quite nice here. And of course, the FR Französische, I guess, Grenadier, which, you know, they do have 3 MG42s. It's pretty sick. So that's a nice assortment. Then in B phase, he gets a Panzergrenadier HW MG30, which has a bazooka too. Really cool. And then in C phase, just some regular Panzergrenadiers as well. Also a bit special, different rifles, I think, and a little bit more men. Tank tab, of course. Panzer IV in A phase, Stück in B phase, you're limited to that, there's not much choice there, but he spams out the Panzer 35T, Panzer III leader. Support tab, he spams out more Panzers with the Panzer IV F1, and then of course he also gets the SPW ADGZ, SS Feldgendarmerie, which is 20 points, and it's in military police cars, so you know, your POHT are actually not going to be disarmed if they're nearby that one. He brings 2 cards of heavy machine guns with the MG42 and the Ukraine MG286R, okay? And again, IG-33 in B phase, very odd choice, especially since you don't need that money on this map. At T-tab, a lot of light stuff, no bazookas in A phase, though, also very interesting choice, but I guess he prays that his all the light armor will do a good job. Pack 40s, AA with covered artillery, yeah, SK-18s, and the 152. I'm again surprised we don't see the very good 35T, 38T, something like that. The Czechoslovakian gun. Really good. Really good. He doesn't bring that. Actually, he brings a Ju-87 with the napalm bombs. To be honest, I'm not a huge fan of it. I think it's kind of underwhelming. And then 2 types of HT planes in B phase, which in this matchup, understandable. Now, this is actually, I think this is going to be, of course, a problem because, of course, Luna has way more CKC than Mimile. So if he can fight over the flanks, Mimile should be struggling. But also, very important here is look at all that light armor. And Mimile doesn't have that much in A phase. Of course, Luna only has the full Panzer Force, but Panzer III he can deal with the other Panzer III, and he can deal with the few Toldies, and so will the Panzer IV F1. So I think there's going to be a rough time for Mimile over there. But enough of the talking about the decks, let's look at the deployments. And yeah, we do have on the right in the blue Luna, and the left in the red we have Mimile. Let's just take a quick look at the deployments over here. So we do see quite a bit of the light armor, by the way, but not a ton actually. So Luna is not really trying to take advantage of it. Of course, he doesn't know that Mimile doesn't really have that much armor actually to deal with it. We do see some POHG, by the way, with the SPW ADGZ in town and in the south. South Clare Panzer II. We do see some of the Grenadier GRB, so he really wants to make sure that no tanks can move in. So he he covers off both axes points here to this. Of course, you can swing around here, but yeah, that at least gives Luna time to react. Pioneer, Recon. Yeah, pretty classical over there. But not actually pushing. They're quite a large deployment because, of course, this is a classical place to push for blue side because you can get 3 flags right away. So it is not unheard of. Red just pushing hard over here right at the start. Which Mimile is not doing is going in defensive with 2 mod lowers. No, actually one is the 44M, Recon over here, and an MG to cover this off as well. So not investing too much over there. Road is going to be covered off by a Pack 38, and then a Panzer who is following up as well. Kind of covering this off as well by the looks of it. And the main deployment, of course, is over here because it's just way safer than driving down this road because you can, you know, get transport sniped by T-guns over here. This is why I usually go from over here. We do have 2 more of the SPWs and not that many. Oh no, we have a POH1. Okay, so just use them for being nice in general. They're also cheap, you know. As is Jagdverband, interesting positioning. This is very slow. I would not put that far forward. And then the usual infantry deployments, trying to get into these positions, defensive positions over here. Not trying to put anything into the church tower. Mimile, on the other hand, opens up with also not an expressive deployment over here, although he actually tries to put something into the church tower, which I don't know what that's going to be. Nope. The flamer. Okay. I mean, why not? So yeah, this is what we see Mimile doing. He has some Turans and Toldis, one Turan and some Toldis actually, and an early Nimrod. So Mimile, I guess, is afraid of getting airslammed early on in the town. He wants to cover himself off there. Now he also brings the Focke-Wulf right away, which of course is really nice because he can exploit Luna's weakness of not having good AA. And of course, in this particular case, Luna actually didn't bring any AA whatsoever in A phase, so should nicely be able to exploit that. Defensive deployment over here, just making sure that he has things here to make it difficult for Luna to advance further, because Luna will get in here. There's not much Mimile can do about that. And then he actually pushes in here, which is an interesting thing I don't see very often. An MG 42, I think, 34, sorry, and some recon. And Luna is, yeah, pushing in here as usual, and then trying to get some recon in there as well. And I think with that, we're just going to hit the play button here and see how this goes. So I've already actually talked about some aspects of this matchup in the deck, when we talked about the decks. So do let me know, by the way, in the comments if this is, if you prefer this, where you want to hear these comments when we look at the decks, because I think it kind of naturally belongs in there. However, when we also talk about the map and what the divs can do and what they can't do on this map, I think this is also a place where it fits in. So yeah, either at the start or with the divisions. I think so far I've done the talking during when we talked about the map, and we have a nice little bombing. Cheesy Mimile, very cheesy. But I know some of you don't like it if I'm judging people for that. It's totally okay. Still gonna do that, but of course no one needs to listen to me, right? You're all very much allowed to have your own opinion. But anyway, recon plane does the bombing, disrupt Luna's deployment. That actually allows Mimile's mod lowers probably to get in here, but the Jagdverband is probably still going to get in there because it is slower. Actually, for once, having a slower transport is an advantage. Focke-Wulf providing some nice vision. And the MF210 is immediately following up after the FK288. We all know how well Luna uses those, so it is good for Mimile that this thing is there. Looks like the flamer gun actually spotted somehow, or at least it's just assuming that it's there. No, it is definitely spotting. Oh no. MA210 taking that out. BF109 coming in, but he can't kill that. It's actually, yeah, it's actually as low bad resilience, and this thing is medium resilience, and some 20 mils, as we can see. Oh, was it one of the heck gunners of this, or was it the Nimrod? One of those actually took it out. 13-11 for Luna nonetheless, with him getting in there as the Jagdverband. Ultimately, like this map, this is how this map works, right? Blue has a bit of an advantage because you can easily grab this flag at the start. But then red has, I would say, an easy time grabbing a lot of flags in here. You can push deep here. It has happened. It happens sometimes with blue side, but it's not very easy. I had it recently in a game where in a practice game against Moobrook where this happened to me, but it is not very common. Another fuck wolf coming in. And remember, Luna, he can buy another plane, but there's no real point in doing that because there's an Nimrod there now. And this is if you wanna air from someone and you're afraid of his fighters, just make sure you have an AAPs there, and then the fighter is basically useless unless you go too deep. But I think you know, a player of this caliber would know better than doing that. Nimrod for some reason was on return fire for a brief moment. But it's double star. It's probably gonna take down that BF-109. Fuckle still floating around. It's providing valuable vision. Oh no, it survives. I think that quick turn off of the weapons is actually made it happen that this thing managed to survive. I think otherwise it would have probably died. But he only has 2, and it's now probably going to be repaired for quite a while. That's actually good for Mimile. Surprised, this thing is going to provide a lot of vision, but at the same time, of course, if you can call it back, you can come again and use the most out of it that you can. MG34 providing some nice assistance here. This corner house here is more often than you would think actually really used for fighting, and so if you have something in here, it can actually be really annoying. Oh, this thing now showing why it is so annoyingly good. Lower 44M is on the run. Grenadier pushing up. This thing can't really compete with this. I actually forgot, yeah, this is an MG42. Remember correctly. More infantry coming in. Not that many tanks again. I think there's a missed opportunity there by Mimile not taking those. UHT being in the zone of influence of this thing. Or the 44 is in a position where it can see it, but it can't shoot. If it was in here, of course, that would be a different story. Getting pinned now. Panzer 4 here still alive. He got a pen early. Don't know by what. Probably whatever that used to be. No, that used to be a motorbike. It can't have been that. Don't know what it was. Maybe an AT gun over here, something like that. Maybe the Toldy over here. No, the Toldy doesn't have that much range. Yeah, it's 1,000 meters. So I don't really know what that was. Something did it for sure. Flamer here actually, oh, this is maybe why he did it, because he can spot and he also has influence on the flag, which Recon would not. Maybe that's why. A lot of infantry coming in. Some expensive ones. Ooh, really expensive ones. That's a nice target for these guys, which are at the moment coming for the Pak 38s. Which I kind of get, but at the same time, I feel like that's not the biggest problem. Kinda. I mean, at the end of the day, it's better to do damage than not do damage. But still a bit of an odd choice for me personally, because I feel like the infantry is probably more of an issue. Since Mimile doesn't have a ton of tanks in A phase. He's coming in for a nice little preemptive bombing run, and then he's going to follow up as all of these are going to be pinned or actually killed. That's also nice to have. And I mean, while this has a sniper, you know, you can just push it out and be good with it. Be done with it. This one was a little bit too early and not really well aimed, but still. Made sure that Luna would definitely be pushed out of there. Toldy's, Toldy 2 and Panzer 3 coming in. Now do you see a push here of the outflank Panzer. Ooh, no, this thing is revealing itself by shooting at some infantry, which means that the armor can actually have a go at it. Toldy taking out the SPW. Not one being called in right away. Yeah, there's plenty of those. They're super cheap. So there's that. Yeah, this thing is double machine gun, whereas this one is not. So that's not good. Of course, 11 man is not too bad, and straight pull rifles do help, but still, you know, 2 machine guns, pretty good. Toldy, oh, nice, gets a pen on the Outclair Panzer 2, kills it. This thing is really good for light AT. Stück versus Panzer. For some reason, the Panzer 4 got a pen. I'm not sure if the Stück missed before that. Wow! 2 pens in a row, while the Stück just misses. That's really rough. Also, I have to assume the Stück missed before that, because it couldn't have been that slow with actually opening up on it. The Panzer 4 was spotted at the end of the day. That's a target-rich environment. Killing the Panzer Pioneer Harvey off, of course, is not that bad. Toldy decides to have a go. It can pen the Panzer 4 at this range, but if the Panzer 4 pens it before that, that's of course not really going to work. And it's going after the SSC Axelband. Yeah, I believe that was not the intention, but this is how it plays out. So just that. 2 more Panzer IVs being called in. As we're approaching the last third of... Oh! It took out Panzer IV. Something. Oh, the Panzer III probably there. And side tells us no, but I think it was probably the Panzer III. Could also have moved. Oh! Gets taken up by another Panzer IV. Yeah, these Panzer IVs are proving to be a bit of a problem here for Mimile, actually. Especially considering that he's lost 1 Stück at least, and he doesn't have a Panzer III. He doesn't have that many answers to it at the end of the day here. 39 for Mimile for now as he grabs this flag. It looks like his little pusher of his infantry actually managed to kill off and finishing off the units over there. And by extension, like he creates a big bubble here because there's nothing there, basically. This one as well, so he's actually pushing across now. He has brought in a 149, and the Focals, of course, are added again, so definitely reasonable. He tried to go after the Panzer IV, but the Panzer IV has moved. Not sure if Mimile has noticed. I should have, because of the Flamer. Oh, these are going to run to the Flamer, and then it's going to be the end of that. But yeah, personally, I don't like going after tanks with heavy artillery unless it's an absolute must. I guess in this situation, it could be argued that he doesn't really have many other options. Oh, look at this thing, going after the Tolly 2. And getting the kill. It's really good, the AT rifle. But yeah, I personally feel like if you want to do this, you want to do this with light artillery. It can work super well if your opponent doesn't pay attention. Had my fair share of killings with Saxons and the like, but they can only do so much, you know. That south is actually very quiet, but Luna, yeah, actually now pushing hard with some arm. And as I said, I think Mimile really lacks arm in A phase. It's just some more light stuff would be very useful, especially considering that, you know, the Toldies can sometimes, you know, tanks, especially something like a Steward, can get overwhelmed by something like this, but like the 20mm auto can, because this will just continue shooting super fast, and something like a Steward can't. It will need 2 pens to kill it. It's not different for the Turans or the Toldies and the like. Oh, ME 210 gonna get on the back? No, because it's not maneuverable enough. Nice cluster strike there. Super long too, by the way. Kills 1 Panzer IV, forced the other one back to retreat. Is it damaged? Yeah, a bit. So that should be one shot. But as I was gonna say, so against a Steward or something like that, up close, 20mm autocans are actually quite devastating. However, against something like a Toldi, which has a fast rate of fire, still 2 damage, or the Turan 1, this doesn't work that well. So, you know, so it would actually be good counter here, and it can stop because the infantry in Apex Leads doesn't have a ton of AT. Well, you have the Pioneer, which, and of course the Grenadier Kiev, but at some, like, I feel like you want to combine them with your infantry, because infantry, while it has an MG42, is not the end all be all, for sure. Artillery nicely forcing back some of Luna's pushes. Mila's lost the central flag in the town. Meanwhile, grabbing this one here because there's nothing over there. The Pancelos are going to be getting pinned by the Focke, for one of them at least. The other one is almost pinned. So maybe if he was to move forward, he might be able to finish it off. Especially if he gets like up closer with the straight pull rifles. Extra damage can really make a difference. And this thing not having that many rifles also makes a difference too. Oh, do you see the Panzer now? Yeah, the Panzer IV doesn't really have a chance of doing anything against that. You guys have set 7-1 for the town right away as we hit B phase. Wow. So, I mean, yeah, Luna's getting air spammed hard, so he wants to turn that off. Now, if Mimile doesn't turn that away immediately, he's going to lose it. Oh, he's going to lose it. Flag 43 up north as well. Oh, no. No? Wow. Okay. No way down south though, so this is where Mimile would have another angle. To be honest, in my opinion, if you want to air spam, like, if you want to make the most out of your air spam, this is probably where you just shift next. At the end of the day, things in town are kind of stabilized for the time being, but not great up north. It looks okay. So, you know, where can you shift next to make some new plays? Probably the south. So this is what I would do. But maybe Mimile really needs units in the town at the moment. He has somewhat stabilized, but it's not looking great at the moment. And again, these players are way better than I am, so they know better than me. So if I say something like that, this is my way of thinking. This is not necessarily how I would do. But this is just my take on also how to make most of the planes that you already have, since now there's apparently quite a bit of AA. As you can see, that's something that also been turned on return fire. This one almost got killed, but it survived. It would have been a really good kill. Oh, HS-129 coming in as Mimile just chases a little bit too far. I think he has not realized that AT planes are back on the menu. I'm actually wondering, maybe someone can explain this to me. Would it be, I'm just wondering, in this case, Mimile backed off, but would maybe the better answer be to drive in closer? Then you close distance and it will take shorter until this thing, like this thing will have a shorter time on target. It's kind of my reasoning. What do you guys think? Is this actually a reasonable approach? I have no idea. Focke-Wulf coming in as well, so Luna decided that now it's time to invest a lot on two things, AA and tank busters. And the moment his A is forcing off planes and his tank busters are busting tanks, so can't really complain about that. Well, this is a waste of a plane. Going after POHT. Now the problem is it's going to fly into two SDK sets at once. Now luckily for Mimile, one of them is falling back, but one of these full bursts is close. It's smoking. Might go down here. No, it's going to get out. Pretty lucky though. Another one being forced off by the Flag 43, which is at single vet. So, as you should. That should have an easy time forcing things off. Counter battery now by Luna with his 152. How good is this thing actually? Because I have, yeah, no, it's bad. I remember that I didn't take it. That was for a reason probably. And yeah, the reason is 3 rounds a minute, not that good. Especially if you compare to 6 rounds a minute. It's also 20 points more expensive, but it will kill. Also, this thing, the barrel is not incredibly long, so it's probably not very accurate. So there's like the accuracy that you see, as you might know, on these stat series for direct fire, not indirect fire. The real accuracy has to do with things like range and things like that. As far as I recall, there is a table where you can actually see how accurate they really are. At least I think it's on that table too. There's an arti-stat table. And what's important is you can kind of go by barrel length. The longer the barrel, generally speaking, the better the accuracy. It's not like always true, but it is generally a good indicator. So now this thing doesn't have an awful, like, incredibly long barrel either. It's just that it fires so fast that accuracy doesn't really matter. It's a big gun that fires fast, right? So it has a lot of blast, and that will do the trick eventually as well. Whereas for a smaller gun, firing fast, you know, you still don't achieve much. It's kind of J87 now coming in up north, but there's a Nimrod moving in. This Nimrod in town still doing a little bit of work, so the J87 man actually gets stopped in time. It does. Flying close to the other one, but with the medium resilience now, it's probably going to survive that. Skill sets and one both are still alive. Church is fully destroyed, and the SSR one there is still holding a flag, however. This thing gets a Panzerfaust, so Mimile needs to be very careful here. You might lose to round 2 to it. It's not careful. And there we go. Panzer Freeze following it. Ooh, that's close. A little bit too close, actually. And down he goes. I think he killed one of them and the Panzer IV killed the other one. That's a pretty bad loss. One of the 149s. Been suppressed. I don't think that's been killed off, right? Still the same. No, it was just stressed out, moved. Now there's 3 149s in. A little bit closer reinforcement to the road, unfortunately for Mimile. It's going after the SKS sets and 1. Oh, one of them almost lands a deadly hit. Oh, the other ones are just a bit too slow to fire. A little bit too accurate because they're in radio range. They're going to miss entirely. Now, if he's lucky, it's going to drive right back into it, which is not the case. It looks damaged, though, a little bit at least. So it won't last forever. This one has not received any hits so far. Still, Luna quite dominating, though. He's forced it off, though, so that can actually make a difference since the Ju-188 is probably going to get in. This thing is super fast. This one, on the other hand, probably not going to make it. He's trying to bomb it, but there's two. I think Mimile hasn't actually realized that. Wolf can't get behind J88. Sort of a burst off. It might actually die now that it flies directly over a single star Nimrod. It's not very healthy, generally speaking. The Wolf still got out. Wow. It's impressive, actually. No counter battery by Mimile so far. Maybe he's changing that now. Might actually lose those. Because eventually, you know, eventually Luna will get some of the kills. So I'm not really living up to the goal that I usually have of actually providing like strategic analysis and why it matters is actually something I wanted to do. But, you know, it is at least entertaining to watch. But if we go back to that just a little bit more, I think Mimile at the moment really struggles finding a new angle at Luna. And Luna so far can be happy to just fight the town fight here. He has some of the spam going on. He's holding one more flag. He's on a 13-11. And, ooh, he just lost a tank though. It's not so nice. But, yeah, at the moment, I think the grind is suiting him quite well. Oh, he lost one of the SDK. No, this is not the new one. Oh, yeah, no. He still has both SDK sets at once. And, yeah, Mimile is shooting completely past them. Although he's adjusting. But if Luna keeps moving them, he's not actually going to get anything from it. So maybe it's better to just go after something else. Right, AA. Oh, Nimrod goes down. That means that Luna, who has some nice planes, can actually start using them now properly. Panzer 4 F1 did the trick. Round 2 actually bans the Panzer 4 F1 shot. Motorized Leverage trying with the AT grenade. It looks like it is on cooldown. It missed it or something like that. Gets a kill. So the Nimrod is avenged, but lost nonetheless. And there we go. Wolf is right in there to go after Panzer 4 there. The most pricey target. But yeah, as I was going to say, so, oh, look at that. This thing is still chilling in there. It's actually quite useful. But yeah, I think Mimile really struggles with finding a new angle. At the moment, he has the artillery that he can use. There we go. Panzer 4 goes down. Wolf, ME210 got forced off over here. And Lunak is at the moment okay with the spam by the looks of it. He's maybe over-investing a little bit into it. He really thinks he needs it by the looks of it. He's already he's moving it, while Mimile is wasting ammo on going after it. I think Mimile again. I think it would be a good way for me, a good move for Mimile now to go after this. He has the artillery; he could force his way back in there and then actually get a nice push going. There's also no AA, which he of course doesn't know, but he could definitely test the waters out a little bit with his recon plane, see what he can do there. But at the moment, the problem is that I think his window of opportunity is kind of gone now, as Luna has, you know, he could support this with his artillery. So it's not entirely gone, but it would be nice to use the artillery for that. But Luna has now a ton of artillery out there too. Will keep Mimile on his toes. So that ship's kind of sailed. Yeah, I think Mimile has just wasted his artillery too much going after something that he's not really going to kill, and it doesn't really matter that much because there's more of them anyway. So while 3 SDK sets in 1 are fantastic, 2 are still going to do the job, most likely. So it is not that crucial to kill that one off. Mimile on 3rd though, as he regrabs this flag and is holding this with the model overseas, Mimile has done a great job at finding small gaps and trying to exploit them. I think he needs to make something else. And as I was also going to, there's too much to say here now. As I was going to say, Luna's actually built up a little attack force here over time. Some of these have already been here, but I think some of them have been called in later on. And now he decides to push. He hasn't seen Mimile doing anything over here, so it is reasonable to assume that there's nothing there, or not much, because basically, with all of those flanks, it's always the same thing. Unless you expect a big push, which on this side, on the red side, you don't really do, or decide you push yourself, you're not really going to do much in one area. You're not going to really put much there. So if Mimile doesn't push, there's basically nothing here. You can be sure of that. Same thing over here, right? On blue side, there's 1 or 2 units. If you don't go with a big push, there's not that much there, usually. It's a general, like, it's a pretty constant rule that you can go by. Right, if your opponent is not pushing and is not an area where it is very reasonable to assume a big push, he's most likely not putting much there. There's no reason to assume a push. Look at that. Looks like one of the SKZ has actually died. The other one's being forced off, but it's probably still not going to get finished. There's a radio? Yeah, so the things are actually accurate. Last SKZ brought in. And this is the other issue, right? There's another one right away. So I think if Mimile's goal is to force Luna to buy expensive things, then yeah, he's succeeding. But he's losing his arty for it, as he's losing the counter battery war by the looks of it. On the other side, if his goal is to actually open up the skies, he's just not going to succeed, really. Turan 1's now moving in, but the problem is the Stücks now. There's not that much that they can do. Unless he gets some sides, which would be really sick. I think if he had engaged with them as well, while Luna was not falling back yet, that could have worked. Oh, Turan 1. This opportunity, it might be able to overpen eventually. Gets the driver knocked out. These things do have 2 healths. I always forget about this. Turan 2, I remember. Turan 1s, I always forget. Absolutely nuts. It's basically a medium tank. Not basically. It has the health pool of a medium tank. It's maybe, I think it's classified as a light tank still, yeah, because it can look at it's a light tank for all intents and purposes. Push here down south, gone pretty safe so far. The 44M is wood tight, so the SPW can move around relatively freely. Turan's coming in, but no infantry. Could potentially be an issue, although, yeah, this thing can definitely pen him. F49 having another go at trying to shoot down one of Mimile's planes, but the Nimrod is still there. That hasn't really changed. This one here as well, here too. One would think that the BF-109 would die eventually. I'm actually quite surprised how long these 2 planes have lived. Both of them have low resilience and, you know, have been flying directly into AA. So, would have expected them to die way sooner. These 2 flags helped by Luna gives him a 14-10. Mimile is still fighting over this one, but he's also holding one over there still. Lewis here, 44M is being pushed back, but now we do see a push by Turans and the Stück. Well, the Stück actually reinforcing this area, never mind. So, Nimrod, I mean, a light tank like this, it can probably kill off. This thing doesn't have... Yeah, no, it actually does. 12 rounds, I mean, it has a decent rate of fire. But yeah, so Mimile deciding to try to have a go at the counter push. Bringing it actually to 13-11 as he grabs both town flags. No, this one I think he had, but he regrabs this one and regrabs his flag in the south. Bockwolf having go at the Turan. Nimrod trying to stop that one, but it's 42M, which means it doesn't have the double that. The Mimile's counter battery war not going as bad now as you would have thought. He has finally started counter-battering. Has forced one of the SK-18s off. Not one of them. He has forced the SK-18 off. Currently missing the 152 there. And the drum blob is now in there. So these STK sets and 1 could actually be threatened. Realistic. I think he needs some more Panzer Force though if he wants to deal with the Stücks. And that's a big problem here. The Turans are this Turan 1s or Turan 2s? They're all Turan 1s, so they can't really do much. They will eventually pen, but it's not an easy task. Yeah, no EA down south here, and Mimile has noticed, so he's going out with his air force over there. I think this is why this push is actually dangerous. Still worth it, absolutely worth it. You want to, whenever things get stale, you want to break up a new front. You want to open up a new front. Absolutely the right way to go. However, of course, Luna is really opening himself up for air spam here, and we are in C phase, so buying AA is expensive now, even more so than usually. Both 149s alive. It looks like the ammo truck got hit. Luckily for Mimile, he put it far enough away that it can still reload, but it's not gonna get hit at all. Not gonna take something with it, which is very crucial over here. Nimrod, I think, needs to follow up with the tanks a little bit more because they're all in a row. So the HS-129 can have a nice go at it, taking 2 out at once with 1 run since they're all nicely combined together to 1 big bump, and it's actually going to get out because this thing is in the forest where it cannot see as far, and this thing is just a little bit too far behind. Nimrods are good. Oh, look at the AT going to be insta wasted by 3 149s. Oh, Fockwolf's having a go now. Are the Turans spread out enough? I'm not so sure. This thing... No. Oh, but the Nimrod saves the day. And absolutely clutch. Problem is Stück 3 is going to come in. The Turans can't really deal with that at all. Stück 3 here. Did it take out one of the runners? What just took out the Turan? Oh, this thing. possible? No. It died over here. Might have been a strict then. Interesting front line here too. Is basically this one unit, one half two, is holding that flag. So that's that. Oh no, bazooka unit over here. Mimile being too aggressive. His tanks not following up fast enough with his infantry. He has the recon there, but it's probably not enough. FK 280. Oh, this is what kills round. That makes a lot of sense now. 149s are going after that. Probably 2 volleys and they will be deleted. But counter battery has started again by Luna. And Mimile has 2 of his 149s forced back immediately. If he's lucky, he's still going to take this with him. Maybe 1 volley is actually enough too. But let's see. Nope. Actually quite nice, nice large triangle. So all of them are very far off target. This one is a little bit closer. It's round 1 falling back. Lowest 44M moving forward. But there's still infantry there. You can deal with that. Black 43 now coming in. JU87 also coming in. Actually going after the Fokker Wolf. If this thing I could actually just chill here a little bit and provide radar, that would be huge for counter battery, by the way. Just pointing that out. It's now falling back. This thing has 20 mils. Yep, and it takes it out. Some of them don't, but this one does. But this flag here being grabbed by Luna actually means that he keeps the single tick going. Mimile is stopping it again with, I don't know what he just grabbed. He's making another big push over here. He has Haroshaje. There's a 44M, so if this can be like just right back here, nothing can really push into that. Oh, look at that, a strict die. Maybe to this strict here. I'm not sure where it was, but it has died by the looks of it. 20 land for Luna again. Mimile has to re-grab this one. 87 still circling. A lot of the Turan ones have died over here. Some of the 44Ms too. Oh no, he turned off shooting at the POHG, fortunately for Mimile. Plenty of RV and I'm pushing in. Strix could still move into position where I can see them again while not being in range. Mudlovish actually moving in here. It's only the SH Petrup, but it has a Panzerfaust, so if this thing moves too close, I think it should be okay, but it's just going to start shooting at it. Now, if they're hopping into the building... Oh, Mimile, yeah, he did... He moved out of the building. So he's now close that this thing can't shoot the machine gun, but the MG2AD at 68, unfortunately for Mimile, is also there to deal with that. It was a really smart move. It was a really smart move. I really loved the idea there. Unfortunately, it failed. Iran's now pushing through. There's not much here, but 2 Grenadier MG30 coming in with the bazooka. Remember that. Flak 43 needs to be careful now. ME210 now coming in to clear this out. Going after the machine gun instead. There's a lot of SK assistant ones over here. So I think they will stop that. They all open up? Yeah, they do. Oh no, he's flying directly into them. It won't survive that. Oh, look at that. The 149's sitting silent at the moment. Luna actually not resupplying this. I think that's been silent for quite a while. Now he does. More Turans coming in. I'm surprised that Mimile doesn't call in Panzerfaust. Now we finally see one. He has wasted so many Turan ones here when just because the Strux were easily bullying them. So I'm really surprised it didn't call in some Panzerfaust earlier. There were some early on, but quite quickly stopped doing. Actually stopped calling them in. It's very... Which is just a very odd choice to me. Oh, these guys. Right, to get into good positions. Avoid being sniped in a transport. Just barely. Infantry not really able to follow up. Turan 1 versus Flak 43, I think, in just a second. Flak 43 spotted Turan 1. Turan 1, on the other hand, has not spotted Flak 43 yet. Now it did. Now, this thing does not have the good damage that the Turan 2 has. Turan 2 is really phenomenal at infantry support. It has... Oh, look at that! Getting wasted by the Flak 4. Now the Panzergren Harvey MG30 is moving and it's going to soak that too. Tank blaster coming in. I think that's not going to be necessary anymore at all. 149s now have spotted the 152 again. We're going to go at that one. So far, it has not been very successful, though. I always feel like whenever I've seen quite a few counter battery examples more recently, let's say, so that I can actually remember them. And in half the cases, it just feels really awkward and not much happening. Then there's the case where it's like, oh, your artillery's dead. Oh, there goes the next one. And I still don't really know the rules when which of two happens. Because it definitely, like, you definitely notice too when you use counter battery. Sometimes basically nothing happens. You do counter battery and you're still gonna get a shell till the end. Then if you watch your replay, it's like, yeah, it didn't actually hit anything. This is one of those games. It just feels so on and off to me. It's really crazy actually. Very left for Luna still as he pushes again here and grabs another flank. And I mean, you know, having automatic rifles is really nice because they can shoot no matter where you are. Panzer IV finally takes out that Stück over there. That was way overdue. These guys now going after the SK-18, and since they're both close together with the spread, it's actually possible that they will finish off the 152 just by accident. Sometimes I wonder if you can just aim next to whatever you're trying to hit, and sometimes it really feels like it's more accurate. But then again, it's still one specific spot that you need to hit, you know. It's not actually how it works, but just like to joke about that sometimes, because you see, sometimes you just see things hitting everywhere but where you target it. It almost feels like targeting something next to the target will have a higher chance of hitting. It's actually not the case, of course. Round 1 being probably killed off by HS129. Luna getting a lot of AT plane kills. Actually, we have seen quite a few AT plane kills in channel as of late. Seems to be a thing at the moment. Seems to be a thing. Town not looking very good. Oh, up north we do have a Stück being forced back by the Pank 38, I guess. Round 1 here in a bit of an awkward position. Is it out of HE? Almost. These will eventually kill it with the flames. Oh, look at that. SK-18 died. So it looks like Mimile that he finally committed to counter battery is actually going to be able to win it. The problem is he's losing everywhere else. And again, I think that's really down to two things. A, Mimile not refusing to buy Panzer IVs earlier and just kind of buying a lot of the 2-on-1s, which are a lot cheaper, but also not good against Stücks. And I think him using his artillery inefficiently. He killed, I think, one SDK sets on one. And he went after them for quite some time. So there's still 3 of them left. So it was not the best call there, I feel like. Oh, look at that. AA did go down. Nimrod moving in. More infantry pouring in. But this bubble here collapsing. 13 land for Luna still. As it still holds a town flag here. That once used to be Mimile's. And Mimile currently not holding any of Luna's flag. 149 here also being targeted. MG 30. Ooh, this one could just move forward and actually kill both these units probably. Of course, Luna doesn't know. Since it can't put anything in the churchyard, since the churchyard doesn't exist anymore. But that is, you know, not to be underestimated. Luna falling back his artillery. Yeah, Mimile just really struggles finding another angle at this. You can clearly see it. Now the light armor comes. This would be the moment where the 2-on-1s would now be very useful to deal with those once they arrive. Of course, Mimile still, again, of course, doesn't know. But I think Mimile is probably out of them. He spammed them around quite generously. Ooh, Stück now. Finding the Lovesh over there. Französische Panzergrenadier finding Motors Lovesh. I guess help from this one, but still. Look at how fast that was pinned. Nimrod moving now, actually. Yeah, Mimile realizes it's actually going to get quite dangerous over here. Round 1 is probably going to reveal itself to the Panzergrenadier MG30. No, barely not. This thing is... Wait, it has moved? What is it doing? Oh, no. Don't move that close. Oh, he moved into the next building. Spotted to run 1 out. Lovesh. Spotted. No, can't spot it, actually. Not to run that. 149's running low on ammo, going after where the 152 used to be. But again, with the spread, might actually hit it accidentally. HS129 being forced off. I'm not really sure what he was going after. Maybe there was a tank and I missed that. If that was the case, the HS129 definitely didn't miss that one. Oh, immediately pinned again. And the Shug's now just pushing. SPW pushing in. Shug here in a nice position where he can snipe things, but there's another Shuggy Boogie over here that can kind of prevent that, or try to do so at least. And it looks like Mimile, yeah, there we go, 15 and 9, 6 and 8 for Luna. Wow, now the push is coming. Pancelos actually pushing in a position where he can grab this flag too. So again, these were recon, which were nice to provide reconnaissance, but you know, can't really do that much. And now another row of cheap tanks come in. So that if someone all of a sudden starts bringing out a lot of tanks, that means one of two things. The other thing is really the best thing to bring out right now, or they're running low in infantry. And looking at Luna and how much infantry is brought out through the course of the game, I would not be surprised if he's running low. Although he should still have some of these Panzer Grenadiers. We haven't seen that many of them, we've seen some of them. So I guess it just feels like light armor spam is the way to go now. I can't imagine him being out of infantry already. Oh no, Nimrod goes down to the bazooka. This thing can do a little bit of pinning, of course, but can't really kill anything. Haroshaje moving across a very long open field. B49 is in again. It's still, I'm so amazed by this thing still being alive. It should have died 2 or 3 times already. Jaded is flying into a lot of SDK sets and once it easily gets killed. Nimrod trying to have another go at the BF109. It's probably not in the best position to spot it. Yeah, I mean it's a 40 mil. These things are not that deadly. They're doing good pinning, but are not fantastic for actual killing. Still deadly. Don't get me wrong. Oh, not Nimrod going to die here against Stück 3. Mimile's notice is moving away. These things, they don't have a lot of health anymore. Oh, Stück 3 misses. They only have 8 health now, so light armor health. The problem is they used to dominate. For those of you who don't know, they used to dominate up close. Because they could shred tanks like nothing else. They would pin it super fast and then they would eventually pen it. They had 10 health, so, you know, your tank could shoot once and then the Nimrod can still fire back, and this is obviously not the case anymore. With 8 HP, the tank shoots it once, it dies. Didn't used to be like that though. Push here actually still grabbed another flag, but the Focke-Wulf is there to with the Panzer IV. Can't see it anymore. Maybe can still? Doesn't look like it, no. Luna actually migrates away. Non-Nimrod coming in. Is it? Yeah, he can force the Focke-Wulf. It's not. Probably it's not that maneuverable in channel because of the big payload. Maybe it's also just not that maneuverable in channel and not actually that knowledgeable about how maneuverable each plane is. I just know about the Spitfire because this thing is nimble as fuck. Is that the right word? I think it is, right? It was like high external, it's like maneuverable. I think it is. Otherwise, you feel free to correct me, you know. 149's running low on ammo. Being resupplied, but I don't think they can turn around things anymore. 152s are still going after the 149s. Gonna miss now though, thanks to the moving. Oh, Panzer IV gets penned by the Stück and finished off by the Panzer 35T. Wow. Wow, what a shot. That's gonna be the 17-7. Can he get the 18-6? If he can kill the Nimrod, he can actually do that. Also, he has... Oh, there's 2 more Stücks coming, so he definitely has the range to force off the Panzer IV. He's got that flag. He can realistically take this at some point. You can actually just move across here and take this as well. Oh, there we go. The Nimrod goes down. Is it going to be the 18-6? It is. And Mimile can't really move back in because, you know, Stück's not in a position. He doesn't know that, I guess. But, you know, he has to expect there's something here to snipe that. But actually, this thing being positioned just in the right spot could actually still snipe any transport trying to get in there. Well, not exposing itself to the Panzer IV. Butler is trying to get in, but 18-6 is actually going to end very quickly. It's been a very one-sided game by for Luna. He has been dominating relatively early on. Mimile had his moments of triumph, but they were short and not that numerous. And look at that. It was a fiesta, though. It was definitely, there was a lot happening. It was interesting to watch, but not a ton of back and forth. It always switched a little bit, you know, between the 13-11, then the 12-12, and maybe actually another 13-11 for Mimile, but ultimately it was still, like, you could definitely see that Mimile was struggling quite a bit here. And there we go. Oh, he actually stabilized a little bit with the Nimrod moving forward, but that's only going to survive for so long. So let's see, doing desperate pushes here with the Nimrod as well. And there we go. Luna taking the win. Let's look at the stats. Yeah. About 1,300 points difference in trade. That's especially on mirror income and especially for Maverick and Vanguard and the like, where you don't get that much income as the game goes on. That is massive. That makes a huge difference, and we can definitely see that here. And yeah. Gammy 210 though did a lot of work. I do have to give it that, as well as the Focke-Wulf 189. So that was pretty nice. This one did not really do that much there. So, I mean, yeah, Luna immediately bought here as soon as B-Phase came around. And he did that in the one place that... actually two, in the two places, but especially in one place that Mimile was actually fighting over. So his Air Force was rendered not completely, but basically useless very quickly. This one also did quite a bit of work. And then Panzer VM actually did nice too. The 149s, yeah, did something, but not that much. I don't think we're going to see another one. Oh no, we see one for the SK18, sorry. But yeah, other than that really didn't do much. Of course, I did some pinning, which you can't see here, but I think he wasted most of the time trying to pin the SK-1s. Killed, but the things he pinned the most were probably SK-1s, and not something that he could actually profit from directly. On the other side, Panzer IV actually doing really well. He killed 2 sticks. It's really clutch there. This one also, well, okay, it's a Toldi, as to be expected. Tank Buster Focke-Wulf doing a lot of killing. FK-288 being, wow, pretty useful actually. And then we have these guys with the bazooka. Well, this one actually didn't kill a tank, so there's that. But yeah, Tank Buster here, yeah, just having go a lot of 2-round ones. Wow, okay. Okay. Oh yeah, the DAA killing this round was pretty fun. Oh, look at the infantry panzer, there you go. Killed so many infantry units. This is what you want from this. So yeah, overall just not very successful, but a interesting game nonetheless. So I hope it, was fun for you too. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day and see you all in the next one.